Hello, welcome to Operation New Hope, ready for work, where second chances matter. Today we're going to cover 4 sessions on the importance of responding to feedback. And like myself, I'm human like anyone else, and we all can use some good feedback, whether it's negative in some aspect, but we can convert that negative to a positive. So let's think about that before we get started today, okay? Okay, today's objectives: discuss how to be more receptive when getting feedback, recognize the role of choice when interpreting feedback as positive or negative, learn to identify the benefits of feedback, learn to employ helpful reframing statement against self-defeating thoughts, learn tools for deciding whether feedback fits you or not, learn to increase awareness about how your response to feedback may come across, demonstrate responding to feedback. And let me share this here. We all have some type of feedback we can use. I don't know, I don't care who you are, where you are, what's your title, where you're from. We all can use some good feedback. Okay, remember that. Okay, we're gonna watch a quick video on feedback.
I don't know anybody who thinks that feedback conversations work, whether that's in your family or with your friends or in your organization, whether you have it to give or something, unsolicited advice or criticism or offhand comments or your performance review are being aimed at you, the feedback conversations are dreaded and often dismissed. And so what's interesting is that the usual response is to teach givers how to give more effectively. So organizations send all their managers and to teach them how to give more skillfully and more persistently. As individuals, we wait around for that perfect giver to show up, who we trust, who has the credibility and experience to actually be helpful to us, whose opinion we actually want, rather than all of those who offer them to us unsolicited. And it occurred to us that actually we've been going about this backwards. Focusing on teaching givers how to give is a push model of learning, right? I figure out what you need to learn, and I push you to learn it. And it occurred to us that actually it's the receiver who's in charge of what they take in, what sense they make of it, and whether and how they choose to change. It doesn't really matter how authoritative or powerful or even skillful the giver is. The real leverage here is in teaching all of us, particularly those of us who are in leadership or who are parenting or in relationship with other people, that core human challenge to try to see yourself and to take other people's input to learn how you impact those around you. I think we have a really conflicted relationship with feedback. In other words, most of us have had the experience of having a mentor or a coach or someone who taught us something really valuable, and we saw ourselves getting better at something quickly, and that is exhilarating. We're so grateful. And yet, all of us also have the experience of getting painful, cutting, unfair, off-base, poorly delivered feedback that not only wasn't helpful to us, but was actually damaging. And I think that conflictual relationship really reflects the fact that feedback sits at the junction of two core human needs. Human beings are wired to learn and grow. If you look at any of the studies on happiness, getting better at something is a key piece of what makes life satisfying. It's why we take up hobbies in retirement and why otherwise normal people stick with the game of golf, right? Because that occasional good round fools us into thinking that we're getting better. But alongside that lies this second core human need, which is the need to be accepted and respected and loved just the way we are now. And the very fact of feedback suggests that how we are now is not quite a-okay. And I don't think that tension is going to go away, but understanding that that's why we sometimes love it and sometimes really hate it helps us understand why it's part of the condition of being human. getting better at receiving feedback is a skill, and it actually gives you traction in all of the important areas of your life. So at work, what the research shows is that people who solicit negative feedback, and in the literature, what that means is that they're not just fishing for compliments, they're actually asking, what could I improve? Those people adapt more quickly to new roles, they report higher satisfaction, and they get higher performance reviews. So not only do they actually accelerate their own learning, they also change the way other people see them. If you look at the marriage research, John Gottman up in Seattle, who studies marriage, has found that a spouse's willingness to take input or coaching from their partner is a key indicator for happy, stable marriages. Now, that's true even though most of us find our spouse's chronic complaints about our character flaws, we don't think of them as feedback, we think of them as them being annoying. But our willingness to actually hear that is key to the stability of the marriage. And, when I think about how I parent my kids, the most important thing I can do is actually show them how I respond to setbacks at work or the criticism from my mother-in-law. That's going to do more for how they respond to a bad grade or a bad call in a baseball game than all my lectures combined.
As you can see, awesome video. Let me share this here. In the video, it talked about relationship, talked about jobs, talked about just any type of human relations encountering one another. Feedback is so important. Feedback is good to give and to receive. The analogy she gave in the video was talking about someone asking for negative feedback. That is hard. That is hard. That is a person who is trying to take accountability and a person who is trying to improve. There's a type of criticism that we're all in tune to, and that is constructive criticism is the best criticism. And feedback applies to everyone, as she shared in the video. So we're going to talk about this today. Before we take this break, I want to leave you with this here. While you're on a break, talk to each other, get to know each other, talk about some feedback, goods and bad, do's and don'ts. And let's learn from one another, because this is going to be a very good training lesson today. Okay? Thank you, and we'll see you shortly.